Hello, this is Bill Steffen. Thanks so much for joining me in the man cave. I got a fire going in the wood insert over here, trying to stay warm with this chilly weather pattern that we got out here. Temperatures for the second day in a row, we're only in the low 50s. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in just a second. That's an interesting map. It shows where the tornadoes have been during the month of May, and we've had a bunch of them, 212 tornadoes in the United States. That count is kind of flexible as they determine if a particular situation was a tornado or straight line thunderstorm winds. It's interesting that most of the tornadoes have been small. You've heard about the big ones, but we've had 12 that are EF2 and higher, but that's only about 10% of, well, less than that, 212 total tornadoes here over the course of the year, and no EF5s. And so far we've had 5 EF4s, which is more than in some recent years, but things have quieted down now, and that's the good news out there. We'll take a look at the map here for today and show you that there's a level 2 or slight risk down across parts of Texas around the Dallas area. They should see a big thunderstorm roll in up toward McAllister, Oklahoma, where they've been hit a couple of times. There's also a little tiny marginal area in southeast Florida where they could see some thunderstorms. A sea breeze often comes in there and creates a little bit of convergence, and they might get a strong wind gust. Nothing up here in the Great Lakes, and that is the case again here during the day on Friday, when we'll see just a level 1 or marginal risk from western Nebraska and northeast Colorado down into northwest Arkansas. So maybe an isolated wind report there, maybe an isolated large hail report. To be severe, hail has to be about 1 inch in diameter, and so there may be a little bit of that out there. But all in all, a quieter weather pattern shaping up here as we head through the rest of this week and into the start of next week. Well, let's take a quick time out to salute our sponsors here, and here's Michelle.
And we're so thankful for our sponsor, Complete Care Concierge LLC has you covered. They can clean your house, your condo, your apartment, your business, your office, whatever you need. Your rental, they can clean once, they can clean on a repeated basis. They serve all of West Michigan, and you can support us by supporting our sponsor, Complete Care Concierge, 616-264-1397, 616-264-1397.
When your home needs help, you might not know where to start. Why not ask Ace? We're always here to help with Ace Handyman Services. Our talented craftsmen handle everything from drywall and carpentry to doors and kitchens. We're the neighbors you trust to get the job done right. Let's get started. Book your handyman appointment today. Ace Handyman Services, bringing helpful to your home.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Well, here's a look at some cool weather statistics for you. That's a picture that was taken yesterday at the Muskegon Channel. That's from the Glural camera that's up there. We get some nice pictures from that, looking both down the channel to the east and toward Lake Muskegon, and also to the west out toward Lake Michigan. Average high temperature for Grand Rapids, 72 degrees right now. And look at the high temperatures here. Grand Rapids was 51. That was it. 50 at Muskegon. That was a record. We've never had a high temperature that cool before on any May 21st. And 52, the high temperature at Holland and at Battle Creek. So pretty chilly pattern shaping up for us. And take a look at this. At the lakeshore, expect kind of a choppy wave situation. We have small craft advisories till 2 a.m. on Friday. A beach hazard statement as well for some possible erosion. Winds will be out of the north-northwest, gusting to 30 to 35 miles an hour at times, and waves should increase to around 3 to 6 feet. I mean, obviously, we've seen worse than that, but hey, this is late in May. Things are supposed to be a little calmer outside of the thunderstorms. High temperatures expected in the low 50s, and I've got 52 out for a beach high temperature at both Muskegon and at Holland. And that is a picture of the Thunder Bay Island Lighthouse. That's up near Alpena. And we get some nice views of the lake, and every now and then you can see a passing ship in the distance there going by. Breezy and unseasonably cool today. There'll be a chance of a shower. The farther east you are, the better the chance you'll see rain. And there's a better chance for weather in the rain showers, that kind of weather in the morning, than there would be during the late afternoon. But again, probably a good bet for a shower or two over toward Lansing, Jackson. And I think it may actually go partly cloudy over toward Lake Michigan if you're right along the immediate lakeshore. Mostly dry weather expected here Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The chance of a shower each day is about 15%, so it's not zero. But most of the time you should be able to get out, and a little, emphasize a little now, it's no big heat waves coming, but a little warmer weather expected here for the coming weekend. The Whitecaps got rained out again here, actually mostly rained out. They did manage to get into the third inning, and it was raining, and it was a kids game, and the kids were there, and it was disappointing for them. But they are going to resume the game that was suspended yesterday at 5:35 today. And this happened to me once. I showed up, the game was supposed to start at 6:35 or something, and I got in there and there was a game already going on. I went, boy, I'm like, watch stop or something like that. No, this is how they're going to do things here. So if you get there early, you can see the suspended game, and they'll finish that before they get into the regular game. It will be a chilly day. It'll be mostly cloudy there. There is a chance of a shower, though I think they'll be able to get the game in. Any showers will be passing and fairly light. And the temperature probably about 52 degrees. So grab a jacket, maybe a hat. It's not going to be a warm day. The weather will be more foul than fair, put it that way, but they should be able to get the game in. Okay, 66-hour rainfall total. You can see in the yellow areas where there's going to be a bunch of rain over the next 3 days. And once again, we got western Pennsylvania, and we've got southeastern Kansas picking up a lot of rain. We've got showers and thunder showers scattered across the Gulf. And a good shot of rain that's been over the Great Lakes area here should move into the northeast, and a pretty wet pattern for southern New England over toward New York City or thereabouts. Dry in the desert southwest, and a couple of dry days shaping up for areas that have seen some rain, central Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina. And we're zoomed in a little bit here to Grand Rapids. We're seeing less than a quarter of an inch of rain in addition to what we've already had. So everybody should catch a shower or two here. But like I said, they'll be increasingly few and far between as we get into Friday and over the coming weekend. Here's a look at the forecast for today. Chance of a shower. I put the chance of picking up a shower at 70% for Lansing and Jackson. Probably a 50-50 proposition, maybe a little higher than that during the morning for Grand Rapids, and about 35-40% at Lake Michigan. High temperature inland 55. Again, the average high temperature is 72, so 55 is no bargain. 40s at night. The humidity does fall to a low of about 65% this afternoon. Winds are going to be a factor. Inland 10 to 20, at Lake Michigan probably 20 to 25. So it's not going to be real pleasant out there if you want to head right to the beach. And again, watch out on the piers there, because those waves should be increasing to about 3 to 6 feet. Okay, high temperatures here, 56 for the Greenville area and Grand Rapids, about 50 for South Haven and Benton Harbor. So again, if you're at the lakeshore, it's going to be a little cooler. Ludington gets 50, while Big Rapids gets 53, 54 up there. And in the UP over on the right, Marquette, a stunning 46 degrees up there. And that's warmer than the past couple of days. They had one day where the high temperature was just 37. How about that for the second half of May? For Friday, here's the way the high temperatures look. We'll be seeing readings in the mid-50s again in inland areas. Pretty similar temperatures here Thursday and Friday. It may be a couple degrees warmer at the lakeshore here on Friday. And you see it's starting to warm up in Chicago. There's a little warmer air out there. We get to Saturday and temperatures start to warm up just a little bit. Saturday's high temperatures ought to make it up into the low 60s in inland areas. It will be cooler near the lake. You can see the high there at South Haven at 54. So a very, very gradual warming trend expected here for the weekend and into early next week. Here's the 5-day forecast. Shower possible today. A shower could occur Friday. Best bet for that would be to the east. That's why the E is there. A couple days in the mid-50s, upper 50s to near 60 on Saturday, mid-60s Sunday, upper 60s on Monday, Memorial Day. We got some big parades coming up on Memorial Day, so it should be okay for that. The 8 to 14-day outlook, we're at near normal, and near normal would be mid-70s for high temperatures May 29 to June 4th. Hot weather off to the west of us. I could once again see temperatures climbing up to 90 in North Dakota. They've already had a couple of days up that warm. It's still warm in South Florida, but pleasantly cool cooler than average across much of the South. where there will be some scattered showers and thunder showers. Rainfall outlook, you can see where the front's going to be, where the above average precipitation is, Florida back toward New Mexico and southwest Colorado. We should see basically dry weather here. It should be a pretty good weather pattern with comfortable temperatures on the cool side at night. It should be very pleasant around here. So, Michelle, you went to a ball game.
Yes, we are recording this at 2:40 a.m. your time, 1:40 a.m. my time. And that is because, speaking of weather delays, we were at the SEC baseball tournament in Birmingham, Alabama, and there was a weather delay which pushed the start time of the game that we were interested in, the Ole Miss game against Florida, back way late, and we ended up not getting home until a little while ago. But I got my Culver's tea. We have
I was just about to say, I'm good at predicting things. I predict you went to Culver's.
Yes, so the default here is sweet tea. So if you want your tea unsweet, then you've got to specify. But up north, if you just say, I'd like tea, they're going to give you unsweet tea. But down here, the default is sweet if you don't say something else.
Yeah, my wife, Gail, prefers the unsweetened tea. And she drinks a lot of tea. And we like Culver's. I've always liked Culver's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you get the custard, which is really kind of ice cream. Same thing there. Neat. So you got some slides to share with me?
All right. Yes. What are we talking about today? Okay. On this day, May 22, 2011, Bill, what were you doing?
May 22, 19.
You were involved in the On This Day in History.
I was in history. I mean, this is like huge. History is big. Well, let's see. It wasn't the fact that I changed stations. We didn't have COVID going on at the time.
No, this was 11 years after the big station change of 2000. And I would say my second story from your career is that time you went to Venezuela and almost made me an orphan.
That was, I did a whole 45-minute speech on the trip to Venezuela, which was a client.
I need Juliet Dragis's take on it because she was on the trip too, right?
No. We had 3 successive years, and we were owned by, I think it was Argyle. Yeah, I've gone through 10 different owners at the stations I've worked for, so it's hard to keep them straight. But one owner up at WCZM wanted to do a client trip. And so the first year, they wanted a talent to go along. The first year, Juliet Dragis got to go along. And they went to Mexico, had a great time. Juliet was a great host. And it was a great trip. Okay, the second year, Lee Vandermeed went. And they went to Central Florida. And it was rainy and cold and in the 50s, and they had a couple of bad days, so that didn't work out quite so well. So they came to me and said, "Okay, where should we go?" And my first thought was, "Do I get to go this time?" And they said, "Yeah, we'll let you go this time." So I told them, "Well, you have to move past Florida. Florida can have really nice weather in the wintertime, but you can have a week in Florida, especially if you're in Central Florida, where it can really be, rainy and kind of chilly, and you're not going to want to be hanging by the swimming pool." So they decided to look beyond Florida down into the Caribbean.
So the first part of this story, and we're going to have to do a whole episode on this story, is that everything that happens after this is Bill's fault, because Bill is the one who suggested that they go to Venezuela in the first place. So who else are my witnesses? Who can I find? Because I think you said Art Van was on this trip.
Yes, he's passed away. Art Van Elslander. The Brummels were on the trip. There were just so many, and then of course there were a couple of salespeople from WZZM. Bus and Bernie were on the trip. Mom was on the trip to Venezuela.
Okay, so we will get back to that whole story. That's my second favorite story of everything that happened in the history of everything.
There were 10 incidents that happened, which were all really significant storytelling incidents.
Yeah. Okay, so that would
be
a
that they don't really observe stoplights on Margarita Island.
Yeah, or weights and balances.
Kind of slow down. Nobody's around there. Off they go.
Okay, so on this day, May 22, 2011, what were you doing?
All right, May 22, 2011.
Along with a lot of other people from Grand Rapids.
Along with a lot of other people from Grand
Rapids.
Rapids.
I'll give you a hint. It was a long, long time ago.
Well, yeah, 2011. It wasn't
Think about it.
Art Van, no, Art Prize,
Closer.
Festival.
A long, long time ago, I can still remember.
Oh, that was May 22, the lip dub.
Yes, that was the day it was
Wow.
filmed in Grand Rapids.
Yes, and I had no idea what that would do for me. The lip dub has had what is it, 6 million views on YouTube,
Something like
and
that.
it got me in a movie. I get a call from somebody that's frantically telling me, "Hey, Bill, you're in a movie. You're in a movie." And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't think so. And they took a clip from the lip dub to put in the biopic on Don McLean and the song American Pie, which is
And he
such a
later called it amazing.
yeah. And it is. It's just an amazing song. And there's the frame that's used. Julie, that's daughter number one, calls me up one morning like at 7:30 in the morning and says, "Dad, you won't believe this, but you're on the homepage of Yahoo." And I'm like, "You're kidding me." And sure enough, this is the picture that they used. And you can see we've got what looks like Jesus there to the right of me. You've got Waldo in the back, right to the upper right of Jesus there. You've got, you got a guy on the left there that's wearing a shirt with my picture on it.
So
It
is
just turned out to
Marie,
be,
daughter number 2, is right behind you.
yes, that's right. She's holding up her hand.
Mhm.
Yes, and that is pretty crazy. And all those people are volunteers. The thousands of people that were in that lip dub were volunteers. May 22 was a Sunday, and we had to do it like at 7, 8 a.m. on a Sunday so we didn't close down the roads in downtown Grand Rapids for very long. But the mayor, the city council was there. You had all the media types involved. And there's a picture of me here, as you can see, playing a guitar. And my brother has made a really decent living playing a guitar. I mean, he lives in a really nice house north of Chicago. He's done thousands upon thousands, probably tens of thousands of gigs playing every type of guitar there is. So I call him up and I say, Dave, I played guitar for like 15 minutes and more people have seen me play guitar than you. I got a big laugh out of him.
Uncle Dave actually has some amazing stories about his career.
We ought to interview him sometime. He could tell you some Bill stories. That would be fun.
And then that's how it ended. It went up the camera went up in a helicopter at the end.
That was really so well done because you had to take the camera off a golf cart and in one simple move transfer it to the helicopter, and then as the helicopter went up you could see the Experience Grand Rapids.
And it was at the very end, so don't get it wrong.
They showed a part of it on ABC's on the ABC Network News. I know they showed it in Australia because somebody was in Australia and said they saw it. But pretty amazing. There's so many interesting things in that lip dub. If you go there, there's a group of kayaks in the Grand River, and the kayaks are forming a piece of pie. This is in the shape of a piece of pie. So there's all this little stuff going on in it, and it was really a fun endeavor. It really was. That was a Rob Bliss production, and I know he went to either New York or L.A. I don't know if he ever made it back in Grand Rapids. I don't think he was related to Rosalind Bliss, the mayor, but it was. I remember he came into Wood TV to mention this, and then they asked me if I wanted to be in it. I went, sure, I'm up for that. I had to get up a little earlier. I by the way, in the time we sat there, I learned how to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star on the guitar. I had like four ding 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 ding, whatever. So that's not my musical career. That and Oh Christmas Tree on the piano.
Yes, which we learned yesterday is also the tune of the unofficial Michigan State song.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. A viewer is wondering your opinion on the non-activation of the downtown St. Louis tornado sirens when there were storms last week. And to give you the background, if you're not familiar with what happened, the tornado sirens were not activated. 5 people were killed in the St. Louis area storms during that weather episode. The emergency management chief is now on leave pending an investigation. There was a tornado touchdown. They had 60 outdoor sirens. These sirens can be activated by either the fire department or the emergency management, and early reports are saying that the emergency managers were away from their building at the time and weren't able to issue the activation, and that
Yes.
there was communication with the fire department, but that communication was unclear. So wires were crossed and the sirens were not activated. But then they're saying that even if communication had been clear, that the activation button wasn't working in the fire department. And what this reminds me of is airplanes, because I love airplanes, are built with redundancy, and you usually don't see a catastrophic failure like a plane crash until there are multiple systems failing at once. So not only was communication unclear, but the button wasn't working, multiple problems, and we have a catastrophic failure. So Bill, what are your thoughts?
Well, this is really interesting. The sirens are an interesting issue. I could tell you so many stories about sirens. In Kent County, sirens are sounded by the city of Grand Rapids. They press one button and it goes out to everybody in Grand Rapids. There is a separate button for Kent County. So in Kent County, I think it's at the police dispatch where they press a button and then that sounds it for the entire county. Now, there are good and bad points to any way you do sirens. Now, the problem with a hand push is that somebody has to be there to press the button 24/7. Okay, and it can be something other than weather. It can be a chemical spill that people would have to evacuate for quickly. So that's important. Now, if it's an electronic thing where somebody can phone in, you always have the problem that somebody can hack into it, and that happened in Dallas, Texas, where a couple of guys, ne'er-do-wells, hacked into the tornado siren program and sounded the tornado sirens in Dallas on a clear night at 1:30 in the morning. And the sirens went off for, I believe, something like 45 minutes before somebody got in there and turned them off. So there's a real problem. But in this particular situation, see, sirens are not the responsibility of the National Weather Service. It's a local jurisdiction. And we've had this happen before. Plainfield, Illinois tornado back in the, that was about 1991, maybe, 92. It was an EF5, and it was, I think, the latest EF5 ever. It was the last week of August, if I'm not remembering right. And everybody had left the building where the tornado sirens were sounded, and they didn't get back in time to hit the button. Now, the sirens are basically to warn people outside, so anybody who's inside should be paying attention. There are, alarms to sound on your cell phone now. But because the sirens did or didn't go off, that was not the fault of the Storm Prediction Center or the weather office in St. Louis over there for the National Weather Service. Now, they're going to revisit what happened in St. Louis. They did have a little bit of lead time. They wish they would have had more lead time on the tornado that went through there. But in general, tornado warnings are a whole lot better than they were, 20, 30, 40 years ago. Look at what did we have? Something like 17 tornado warnings in southern lower Michigan the other night, a week ago. They're really doing a better job, and we're doing polygons now as opposed to doing, the county by county, because some counties are pretty big. So we're doing better, and then there will be time for improvement. But I think with this one, basically, the jurisdiction responsible for sounding the sirens did not have anybody in place to do that, and that is unfortunate because, how many days were we talking about the St. Louis area being in the enhanced outlook, the level 2 outlook, the level 3 outlook for tornado activity, and they had to have had somebody there 24/7 paying attention. And when that alarm is issued, you just press the button and sound the sirens. So that was not part of what's going on right now with cutting the National Weather Service or anything like that.
All right, and here's another question. What is Bill's opinion on the USA Today article saying that NWS staff are struggling to keep up with warning notices in light of budget and staffing cuts? May I take this one?
You can start, sure.
Okay, we talked about this a little bit before the show, and we are trying so hard not to be a political show. I don't know about you, but I am exhausted when I turn on the TV or the radio and you can't help but have someone's political opinion. And I hope that this is someplace that you can turn to for weather information. We hope you'll be entertained. a little bit. And we hope that this is a place where you can just enjoy. I feel like sometimes with all the political stuff that's in our face all the time, that it can prevent us from enjoying a summer's day or enjoying the thing right in front of us. And I would venture to say that how people think about politics in general might correspond a lot with how they feel about these cuts. So we don't want to put our opinion out there if it's part of a bigger issue. Not to say that weather is absolutely a national defense issue. It's an issue of commerce. It is an issue of public safety. Is it an important government function? Absolutely. Should it be adequately funded? Absolutely. What we don't know is what the specifics of those cuts are. Are they cutting the lead forecasters? Obviously, they shouldn't do that. Are there other things that are being cut? We just haven't personally done the research and delved into it. And, maybe you can, or maybe we can if we choose to spend our time doing that to know. I can say that most of what we put together for this show does come from national weather sources, just because those aren't subject to the same copyrights that even the state of Michigan's got tighter copyright laws than federal things do, and certainly private things. So in terms of a public source, it's a wonderful resource, even personally for us on the show. We just don't have the personal knowledge, which means our opinion isn't better than anyone else's. And then also to add that to the extent that someone's personally affected to lose their job, that's terrible. To have to work extra hours because you're understaffed, that's terrible. Definitely been there. If anyone does have personal knowledge and they have been personally affected by what's happened, we would love to hear your opinion. Come on the show and tell us about it. Bill, what do you have to add?
Well, first of all, I haven't read the USA Today article, so I can't comment on that, nor do I know where any budget cuts have come. If they're if they've been in this area or that area. So it's difficult for me to make a comment on that, but I'll second what you said. I doubt they would be moving out lead forecasters, or the Storm Prediction Center continues to be adequately staffed, and they've done a great job. The Storm Prediction Center and the local National Weather Service and getting this information out. The tornadoes that we get in Michigan, most all of them are these EF0 and EF1s, and they're a lot harder to. The Moore, Oklahoma tornado was this beautiful, letter 6 comma shaped swirling mass on radar, and it was pretty easy to tell what that was. But we get these little F0, F1s that are alive for 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 8 minutes. And it's hard to get a warning out in advance because the circulations develop and then end in such a short period of time. But keep in mind that we're doing good because so few people today are killed in storms and injured, as opposed to going back to the turn of the 20th century. I mean, we used to have many more tornado deaths. Nowadays, people know that when there's a tornado, you go down to the lowest floor, get to the basement if you can, stay away from the windows. Just the simple thing about readjusting your schedule during the day. If you know there's going to be a big storm coming through, make sure you're not out driving around where a tree could fall on top of you. We're getting schools to either hold students or to dismiss them ahead of time so that they would be out of harm's way and not just walking home and having a tree branch fall on top of them. So we're doing a lot of good things here. But like I said, it's difficult for me to comment on anything specific because I don't know any specifics about the budget cuts.
And I briefly looked at the USA Today article, and it didn't really answer the question either. It said that some people are working double shifts to get the watches and warnings issued during the severe weather. That doesn't really answer the question.
Always been the case.
Right. And then it said, then it quoted a lot of people saying that the cuts were bad. But again, that's someone's opinion, and it didn't get into what was cut and how that was affecting things. So more opinion. So I declined to offer mine.
During the blizzard of 78, I don't think I left the building for 3 days.
Somebody brought you bologna sandwiches, though.
Yeah, somebody brought me bologna. They got a sled and went to Myers to get food. And I'm like, okay, we'll get some nice food here. The guy brings back white bread and bologna like I'm in jail or something like that. And it was good. It was good bologna and all that kind of stuff. But I thought, you got Myers, you got everything here, Oh, well.
Okay, so a lovely photo sent to us from John Meppelink. This is the Seney Wildlife Refuge in the UP, and this picture needed a name. This is Diving Duck.
Diving duck, yes, indeed.
There's a duck living his best life. I hope they
yes.
got a fish.
Yeah, I have driven through the Seney Wildlife Refuge on that like one lane dirt trail, almost like a 2-track that goes in between the lakes there, and that was it's a beautiful trip. It really is. It's the Niagara Escarpment is up in that area. We had a great time up there.
There it is. Looks like a lovely place to stop.
Do you know what type of duck that is? I mean, can you tell from the rear what type of duck that is?
It's a happy duck.
A ducky duck. Okay. Well, he appears to have the lake all to himself.
And since I decided that the pictures needed names today, this is First Light. This is Crystal Lake in Beulah, Michigan from John Doherty.
Yeah, beautiful day. And somebody like John would be up early in the day.
And a lot of you probably vacation in Benzie. It's a lovely spot to go. That's Crystal Mountain.
Yes, isn't it the smallest county in Michigan?
Smallest by land size, and it also, at least when I was living there, had one stoplight.
One stoplight in the whole county. Wow, neat. I would suspect more people to be moving up in that direction.
And I would call this one Parking Available by John Scully.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it. Yeah, and I bet that'll be the case again tomorrow too. It's interesting too because it's so weather dependent. I mean, you get a day that's sunny and 85 degrees and humid in late May, and every one of those places will be taken. And yet, you hit a day like this, where it's cloudy, cold, windy, rainy, and everything, and there's nobody there. Thanks for the pictures, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, we have to let Michelle finish her sweet tea or unsweetened tea, I guess. But certainly want to thank you so much for coming on board. There's her tea. There she has one last view of it.
Yeah, I got to make it last. I still got to upload this. It's going to take a minute.
From Culver's. Okay. All right. An unintended plug for them. But anyhow, folks, I hope you have yourself a good day. Another chilly day. Can't rule out a shower, but not an all-day rain. Won't see as much rain as we had here during the day on Thursday. Things will improve. It won't be a warm weekend. There won't be too many people swimming in the lakes here. By the way, the water temperature at Reed's Lake was 69 last Friday, and it was only 58 today. So it's gone down 11 degrees with this cold air that's come in. So not many people swimming here over the holiday weekend, but it should be a nice weekend to get out and maybe do some hiking, play a little golf, whatever. Have a good time with the family. So once again, have yourself a great day today, and thanks for staying with us till the end.